Hello there. In this video, I just want to take a few minutes here to discuss what exactly is a reflection essay or a reflection paper. And in our course, this is assignment number 3. And so I just put this together here just to help give you some insight and to help you gain some confidence and kind of know exactly what is required, what you're going to do. So let's move forward here. Okay, so first of all, on the, to introduce this, what a reflection essay is about and why am I going to have you do this? One thing I'm sure that you have learned by now in this course is that psychology is a very broad field that attempts to approach each topic from the biopsychosocial model. So just as a reminder, the biopsychosocial model is this. And a lot of this, if you just take a minute, pause the video here and just take a minute and look at all these right here, all of these right here, major perspectives, they call these, like behavioral, humanistic, cognitive, biological, evolutionary, sociocultural, psychodynamic, behavioral. For a lot of you, that will those terms will be familiar, and those will kind of remind you of what you've learned so far. Which is really, to tell you the truth, that is the whole goal of this project, is to help you to think about what you have learned in this course and how this can apply to your life. So another thing you probably are aware of by now is that psychology approaches each topic scientifically. It employs the scientific method, and we discussed that in chapter 1. So as a quick reminder, again, the scientific method is this. So I'm not going to go through all these. This isn't for you to memorize, and it won't be tested upon. But I just want you to to kind of remind you of what the study of psychology is all about, and it is a science. And last but not least, psychology it applies to and is concerned with all humans. So that is something important to keep in mind, and that includes you, each and every one of you students. So how have you, what have you learned and how have you grown from this experience, during this last, certain amount of weeks that we've been involved in this course? If you just take a few minutes and think about everything from each, maybe even from each chapter, and you'll quickly realize that, all of this information that we've discussed, that you have learned, it applies to each and every one of you. Okay, so enough with the introduction here, but let's look into exactly what is a reflective essay. So first of all, a reflective essay, it's concerned with all the readings that you have done. It can be concerned with your experiences, the lectures that I have given, personal reactions, your learning, what you have taken away from this experience, your major takeaways, the major aha moments that you've experienced in this course. And last but not least, even your feelings and thoughts you may have experienced while learning or studying certain topics. So that's something that you could, reflect upon and write about in your reflective essay. So another thing that a reflective essay is that it's a chance to analyze your learning. So I underlined it right here, analyzation of your learning and experiences. So what's important to understand here is you should analyze specific readings, learning, and experiences. So in your paper, I would definitely avoid very broad and very ambiguous type language. Like take, for instance, Um, it's not okay to say, yeah, I really learned a lot in this course. I found it really good and helpful. Well, that's not specific enough. You need to discuss exactly what you learned. Well, from what, as you read in a certain chapter or chapters, what exactly did you relearn? Did you um, find it useful? Did you find it applicable to your life situation? That type of thing. You need to be very specific in this assignment. So I said, for instance, you might discuss what you learned about learning, the various types of learning, how learning occurs, how the information is applicable to you, and how you intend to apply the learning to your life. So that would make, just following that format would make a good outline for this assignment, for this project. You might also analyze and talk about, well, what worked well for you? What did not? What was effective or what was ineffective? So as I just mentioned here, these are just some examples of what's called analytical reflection. So moving forward. So another thing is your reflective essay should reflect on what you learned, why the topic is important, or the topics. You're allowed to do more than one in this assignment. And you want to talk about how you grew, how you expanded, how the experience or how the knowledge will be incorporated into your life, into your thinking, into your behavior. And last but not least, definitely your college studies. So take for instance, as an example, one could say, well, I'm definitely, learned, through memory enhancement, how to memorize material better from the chapter on memory. I will apply it in this manner in my college studies from this point on. That's just an example though. Okay, now we need to discuss what a reflective essay is definitely not. So, it is not a book report because book reports generally has as their goal, simple recounting of their readings. So you're not just, in this essay, you definitely don't want to just say, look, in chapter 2, the book said this, and then quote directly from the book and but no elaboration from that point on, how it applies to your life, what you really learned from it, that kind of thing. So be very careful. Don't treat this as a book report. Okay, so I already talked about it is not an exercise that copies directly from the textbook or from the readings or the lectures. And it definitely, doesn't, you want to be careful and, because a book report usually doesn't employ the analytical and personal life reflections mentioned earlier. So be very careful and be sure to include those in your paper. So definitely a reflective essay should not contain language that is not professional and or academic in nature or does not elaborate. So those are very important. So you want to always speak academically, professionally, and elaborate upon what you claim. So for instance, phrases such as, it was cool, and yeah, I really liked it. Those are definitely examples of the type of language that is neither professional, elaborative, academic, nor metacognitive. So a lot of you might not know what that word means, metacognitive. So I put a note, look it up. You might be surprised. Now, in contrast, though, phrases such as, I found this material to be, excuse me, to be highly valuable because, and then you put in your reasons why right here, why you found it to be valuable. Or you could use a sentence such as, this material is important because, and then right here you will enter your reasons why it is important. And continuing on, I will use this in my life, and then enter your insights and plans to use this in your life, right after, right here. So those are examples of good sentences and or language. All right, and you get the thumbs up too if you use sentences like that. So I just want to remind you, the most important point is that you should elaborate, give reasons, and demonstrate how the material or materials are personally valuable and will be used by you. So here are some additional guidelines I highly recommend. You pause the video, look over each one of these. So first of all, definitely strive to be organized and coherent. Your paper should be focused and organized. It's not a free writing project. You need to plan it out and put it in a specific order that is logical. Second, your paper should have an introductory paragraph, maybe 5 to 7 sentences. So keep that in mind. Your paper should also have a closing paragraph. It might summarize your learning, your experiences, your takeaways, your analyses, and plans for future usage in life. Now, lengthwise, this paper definitely needs to be at least 3 pages in length. So that doesn't mean 2 pages plus a few sentences on the 3rd page. It needs to be 3 full pages, or very close to it if you can. And so it needs to be double spaced, and you can use 12-point Times New Roman font. Now remember, this is, according to, Microsoft Word document, so definitely, do this because this is according to APA standards, okay, which is double spaced, 12-point, Times New Roman font. Now, last but not least, your paper can be about multiple topics of interest. You don't have to choose just one. So, you may be interested in things like, and you might want to talk about your thoughts about, how the use of the scientific method is important to you. And while in the same paper, you might talk about how learning and memory are closely related and how you will use those in your life. So those are just some examples, okay? So just want to remind you, so the whole point of this is that you want to be able to reflect upon what you learned. That's where true learning, at least the type of learning that we're trying to do, and achieve here in this course is very important. So self-reflection, that's the school of wisdom, according to this author. So something for you to think about. So we are done with this conversation. I hope this video has been helpful to you. And also, I will include in D2L under the same type of module, I will include this PowerPoint presentation, and I will also include a Microsoft Word document that basically explains how to do this assignment as well. And so I think you will find any combination of these 3 resources very helpful to you. And good luck, and I'll see you in class.